We certainly have found that the public sector are receptive to the initiatives that we have put in place, where we have brought the public procurement situation out on roadshows around the country to our owner managers in 14 different venues across Ireland. And we've had people from Enterprise Ireland and from other agencies come to explain to owner managers the wherewithal on public procurement. So it's been successful so far, but in a small way. It needs to be expanded. The aggregation of contracts is going to cause problems, we would think, again for owner managers in small businesses. The fact that scale is so important, and if you start to aggregate contracts, many SMEs could be excluded from applying for the contracts in place. So there is a danger there that the aggregation would lead to an exclusion for small and medium businesses. In one particular instance, I know of a number of SMEs who have actually come together to bid for a contract. They were unsuccessful, but the fact that they saw each other as complementary rather than in competition was a good omen for the future. And I think that using that as an example, I think that ISME as an organisation can actually push this out to our owner managers to see where there are complementarity issues rather than competitive issues as such. So out into the future, and I think it may be part of the future of SMEs rather than staying and being alone in business, that you actually look around and see what other companies you can actually come together with in order to satisfy the tender documents and the tender requirements. The most common reasons for not bidding for a tender would be initially the fear of doing it and making a mistake which may come against them in the future. So they're taking a longer term view even though they don't know it in not doing it. I suppose the accessibility of the procurement officer at the other end of a phone or the other end, when you see it, it's up on the website and it's very impersonal. And many SME owner managers would have been used to, over the years, dealing with the technicians that were buying the products and that were using the products or using the services. Now they have to deal with a different type of animal, which is the procurement officer, who may not be technically as competent as the previous people. And that, in a sense, tends to put a slight bit of fear into SME owner managers, in that they're dealing with somebody different and they don't know how, and they're finding that the technical issues are not being, I suppose, taken on board as well as they would have been in the past. So it's almost a total shift of focus from the technician who is using the equipment or the service to somebody who is now purchasing a service and needs to see value for money and all the rest that goes with it. It's just a different animal, and it'll take time while the owner managers get to grips with that. I think e-procurement in the initial stages will pose dangers and threats for small business because of the ability of the public procurement executive to be able to buy from one particular source. And that is a godsend to procurement, obviously, that you're dealing with one supplier, one set of figures, one set of invoices and all that goes with it. So the problem there is that in doing that, you exclude many SMEs who would be depending on the public sector to actually bring up their sales. And the sad part about that would be that, again, the public procurement executive will be excluding the agility and the flexibility of an SME to be able to produce and to be able to deliver on time and at short notice. Whereas if you're dealing with the larger companies, it may take a little bit longer. Now, I know with just-in-time delivery and that isn't as much an issue as it used to be. But the danger will be, of course, that with e-procurement, with the larger companies being able to almost supply everything to everybody, small business will be excluded. So there needs to be a little bit more lobbying done on that part from probably organisations like ourselves to make sure that government at least will take cognizance of the SME sector and almost give a certain amount of bias towards the SME sector when they're putting their public procurement programme in place.